Join us as we search Alaska and beyond for mysterious creatures, featuring Beans Baxter and Rob Roy Menzies. This is the Alaska Bigfoot Studies.
Later on, after I quit bringing people there to hunt, so it was just mine to hunt, and I was thinking about getting married. I shouldn't have been thinking about that, but anyway, I don't know. More reason to have a gun, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, here it comes. I went hunting late in December. I had to wait till after Christmas to get 2 days of leave because my status at the place I worked, I didn't get Christmas leave. I could get a couple of days after Christmas.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I go up there and I hunt, and I'm walking, and it's cold and drizzling rain, miserable, very poor light. But 3 in the afternoon, it's always, overcast, and it's pretty dark, especially in the wood. So I'm slow walking trails where bucks run and scrapes are. So I come around and I'm carrying that rifle I sold you, that 6mm.
Oh.
I'm carrying that rifle.
6mm Remington.
Yeah. Bob sold me that.
Gotcha.
I'm proficient with a rifle, but with that rifle, I'm deadly.
Yeah, it's flat shooting.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, same scope, same everything on it. It's been on there for 25, 30 years, 40 years. I put a second scope on it. That gold ring scope I bought it, and I was hunting it back in the 90s. So it's been on there 35 years. So I'm walking and looking, and I'm not wearing orange. I'm wearing a brown leather jacket. I have a motorcycle, so it's and that's waterproof for me.
Yeah.
So I got a hat on, and I'm easing through these trails and stuff, and there's water everywhere, all the leaves and everything, and it's dark. It's physically dark. It's not sunset dark yet. It's just dark because there ain't no sun from the clouds.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we go. I come into this long straightaway, and these are old skidder trails. I don't know if you know what a skidder is, but it's what they launch those boats down there, and the nail check with a skidder.
Right.
It's a big tractor to pull logs out of the woods. Well, when they run through the woods, they make their own trail, and they drag the logs out. And this trail, the deer tend to run on it because it's at the right place for them in that area. It's right near the ridge, so they can, I guess, they see or escape over the ridge or whatever they feel comfortable on. They run it, and they were running that particular trail, and I was walking. I'm going to the south, and this deer, I see it move, so I just freeze. He's about 90 yards. So he takes a couple of steps toward me, and he's trying to see, he's doing the head bob and stuff, and I could see it's an 8-point buck. It's a decent deer. And I was in the mood for a decent deer, and there he was. So when he gets still, I pull in, and I lock in on him, and when I go boom, he goes off to his left.
Yeah.
So every time I shoot an animal like that, even from a stand, I will not approach it for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Let it bleed out.
It just makes sense.
Don't push it.
Well, I can say this now, that if something had been watching me hunt over the last, since 1978 to 1998, he probably knew how I did things. And when I made the loud boom, he's got 10 minutes before I approach the deer. So if this thing was watching me and following me, knowing how I hunt and being an intelligent being, this is all after the fact that I'm reasoning this stuff.
Right.
I had to prove to myself that I wasn't crazy. So anyway, here we go. I shoot the deer, and I wait, and I wait. And then it's not going to get any lighter, and it's not going to get up and move because I know that deer's dead. I go down there, and I don't see the deer. And I said, oh, I know he was right here. So I get out on one knee, and here's a fragment of bone with gray matter and hair and blood and part of the skin where it come off the side of his head. It opened the whole side of this side of his head open. The 6mm is a high velocity round. It does.
Yeah.
We've seen what it does to that jugs of water.
Well,
oh, yeah.
it'll do a
Oh, yeah.
skull the same way. It did the skull that way, and where that deer hit on the ground is where he died. He was dead before he hit the ground, really.
Headshot, just right there.
Oh yeah, he was there. And there was a puddle of blood about the size of a pie plate, and it was being covered with water at that time, but it was still thick enough to where the water couldn't penetrate. It was still water on top. And it, wasn't drying. It wasn't dry blood, it was his blood. But he wasn't there. I said, if that deer got up, he had to make a track. There was no tracks. There was nothing there. No deer, nothing. Just that pool of blood. And then over there where I shot him, where he was standing, I saw where he kicked, And I saw the bone and the hair and the brain matter. So I didn't just glance the side of his jaw and break his teeth out. I didn't do that. I broke the side of his head off because the brain come out. And I could see it there.
Yeah. And something went there and just snatched it up.
If he knew how I hunted, he knew he had a few minutes before I would show up. And 90 yards is with a lot of in-between growth.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you can't see going on down there.
Right.
Especially when he went off to the side, he was out of my direct line of sight. But I knew he was there. In your mind, that thing is laying there dead.
Oh, yeah.
So I walk up there and he's not there dead. He's not there dead. And I'm looking, I'm thinking, I'm going to do circles. I'm going to do around and around until I find this animal. A track, blood, anything. Never found anything. Went back the next morning, took somebody that was a better tracker than me. And he had one of those sausage dogs.
Oh.
I don't know if you know that, but these are powerful nosed hunting dogs.
Right.
They can track and find anything.
Yeah.
The dog would not leave us. He was between the guy that owned the dog. His name was, by the way, Robert Bob. His dog would not get from between his legs. He would not hunt, would not follow, would not look for that deer. And we even took a stick and stirred the blood up and put the blood on his nose. Wouldn't have no part of it. Wow. So I said, might as well leash him and take him back to the truck. So we did. And then we went back down there. And he said, what did you do? I told him, I said, I made rings about every 5 yards. I made a ring and I made a ring and I never found blood. I never found anything. He said, well, let's do it again. So we did in daylight, good daylight. Never found a track, never found a drop of blood. Never found anything.
Wow.
And he said, if it weren't for the brain, I would say you missed him.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But, so that is only half the story.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember this.
The other half the story comes a year later.
Okay.
I go back down there and I'm going to scout and I'm going to look. And guess what?
You found the deer?
No.
No?
No. I don't take the 6mm.
Oh,
I take the 7mm Magnum.
there you go.
There's something in my head telling me something is not right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be there with a pea shooter when I need a freight train.
Yep.
So I took the 7 mag and I walked down there and I go to the place where I shot the deer and I followed the trail. There's a game animal trail there and I follow it down in to the bottom. And then once I'm in the bottom, I go down to where I have a stand and I sit there. I sneak in and I sit down and I watch. And I got this feeling something's watching me. I said, oh shit, not again. So I sitting there. Now, my back is to the property line at the ridge. The top of the ridge is the property line. and my back's to that, and I'm watching across this big flat bottom, sandy wash bottom. It's got all kind of stuff growing in it, and there's pieces of dirt, like, a canyon, how erosion is. Well, it's on a smaller scale, but it's the same damn thing.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to look around, and something catches my eye, and I just start staring, and I see a bobcat materialize. He's been there the whole time. I just never saw him because he never moved.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this bobcat, and he's looking back at me, and he's about, 50 yards from me. So he's sitting on the top of one of these little mounds of dirt that's left over from the gully. It's a gully is what it is. There's mounds of dirt. He was sitting on that. He just slumped off the back of it, and he's gone. I mean, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, well, damn, that's what's been bothering me all this time. So I get up, and I'm looking. Right in front of me, there's a fresh scrape, Deer, he started making his mark on the ground there. So I'm looking at this thing, and I'm skirting around it thinking, if I'm going to hunt this, I don't want to put any scent right down there on top of it. So I skirt around it, and I start making my way out, going up. Now, I came down through the bottom this way, but going out, I'm going to go up this way, back to the road. It's just straight line up to the road, and the road is around the perimeter of the property. It's near the corner, the boundary's behind me, but the road stopped because that gully there, you can't drive down there. So I know the road's right. So I start walking up this trail, big gully beside me, woods that's been logged, so it's not real thick. And I'm walking up going up this trail, and I freeze. I can't take a step.
Oh,
Again. Now I got a 7 mag. Now when I carry a gun, I carry a strap over my shoulder. The gun's upside down under my arm.
Yeah.
And what I do is I just take the handle, the grip, pistol grip, and I turn it over, and I'm ready to go to business. Because the sling will come off my shoulder, and I'm ready to shoot. Well, I reach in, I've got the gun in my hand, and I'm thinking, something is bothering me, and it's right over there. It's right over there. I can feel it. Pressure. I can feel it. It's a holly tree, and I can't see through a holly tree. I don't know if you're familiar with holly trees, but they have a really thick green, bright green leaf, and thick. And the way the limbs form and the leaves hang, it's like hands of clusters. So that it's really thick, like an umbrella. The kind of top of the tree is like an umbrella, and the leaves are thick and they cluster.
Yeah.
So you can't see through the tree.
Right.
And I'm thinking, whatever it is right over there behind that holly tree, and it's looking right at me. And I got this gun, and I was thinking, well, I really don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be. So I take my gun off, and I reverse it, and I hang it over my shoulder with the barrel pointed back and away from me, opposite whatever that is. In other words, I've got my gun hidden with my body and my hand down on the fore end, so so I can pull it up if I need to. And then I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking. This thing is bothering me. I think, is there something really there? And then after about a minute, all the anxiety or whatever you want to call it goes away. And my gun is pointed down and safe away from, in other words, I'm not a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I was trying to say by putting the gun back there like that.
Yeah.
And then it just went away. I said, man, there was something there, and now it's not there. So I kind of look up to where I need to go, and I take about 3 steps. And laying across the trail is a rabbit, dead. not just a rabbit, it's a young rabbit. He's about this long, and he's stretched out. There's not a mark on him. The only thing is, he doesn't have a head. His head is nipped off clean, as if you cut it with a cleaver. And it's laying there, and I ease up to it. I touch it with my rifle barrel, and it's limp. So I bend down, and I pick it up by the front foot, and it's just as limp as a dish rag, you know. It's not been dead very long. And it's laying across the trail. I'm the only one within 3 miles of that property. I'm the only one in that property. You got to go 3 miles in one direction or the other to get to the first house. You know, there's
Possible for anybody else to
no one can get through the gate on the highway. It's locked. It stays locked. I use my personal gate from my 10 acres. So you have to go to my house, go through my gate, and go through my gate at the pond to get to the road to walk to this place that's over a mile. So I know I'm alone.
Yeah.
And this thing had laid that rabbit across that trail for me,
It's placed there.
placed it there. It wasn't haphazardly in a ball. It was stretched out. There was no way I could miss it. And it was across the trail. The only trail there is right beside that gully. And I'm like 4 feet from the edge of the gully is this trail, and it's been used so many years, it's actually hollowed out, the trail. And this rabbit is laying across that. And 10 feet before that rabbit is when I stop, and I know something's looking at me. And I don't hunt no more. And that's God's honest truth. I don't hunt anymore. If he knows, or whatever it is, or he or she, whatever it is, if it knows me that well, now I've done all this reasoning after the fact. At the minute of it happening, I was scared.
Yeah.
And I'm a grown man. I'm talking about, I've seen death.
Yeah.
I've seen all kind of things. But I was afraid for my safety at that time. And I said right then, there's something very big and very mean, or could be, potentially deadly, and I'm not gonna let it get any closer to me. I'm not gonna get myself back in the woods with that thing again. And I got out of there, got in my truck, and got out of there, and I locked those gates, and they're still locked today. Still. I don't want to see it. I never saw it. I saw some weird tracks a couple of times in the mud that could have been, because they were all, you know, with leaves and all kind of sticks and things. It was kind of, the mud come up in one end of the track, and you could make out maybe what might have been toes, you know. You're not really sure, and you're looking at it thinking,
Big
well,
tracks, though.
the big reason I'm there is to hunt, not to look at tracks. I'm not going to eat a track.
Yeah.
I've never eaten a track. I've seen a lot of them, but I've never eaten one. You know, you're there to hunt whatever, not tracks. But I've seen some tracks there that were questionable.
Yeah.
But then there's that big cat in there. He can make a track like that and skid in the mud. Or there's cattle that, one time, 2 cows got out from a farmer two land lots over, you know, like a mile, and they followed the power line that goes between his property and mine. That power line, I've always suspected they would work on that power line to move quickly.
Yeah.
But never saw it. But I can't say I didn't know it was there, because I knew something was there.
Yeah. Still
And-
undeveloped to this day, too. It's just the same.
Same. Well, the backside of that property's got 3,000 acres of land that belongs to a warehouser, which is a huge timber corporation. And they allow nobody on their property for liability reasons. No hunting, no fishing, no nothing. You don't even get in the gate. They won't let you in. And they would sometimes come to my gate and come to me and ask if they could come through my gate to get to the backside of their property. I'd let them in there, hoping that one day maybe they'd let me in. They're learning.
Right.
Or maybe they wouldn't complain if they caught me there. because I did go. But no, I never saw it.
Man.
But I'm as afraid of them as I can be, and I don't understand why. Because if you think about it, other than my uncle being accosted, I've never personally done anything but lost a deer and gained a rabbit.
You took the rabbit home.
No, I did not. I left that rabbit right where he lay. I went over that rabbit from end to end. There was the tiniest bit of urine at his little pecker, and there was a little bit of spinal fluid where his head was separated from his spine. Just a little drop of yellowish looking fluid, and there was no blood.
Wow.
So whatever did it in such a fashion that he didn't bleed all over his skin or his hair, because the thing was literally what I call pristine. You can tell a rabbit's been run. I've hunted rabbits with the dogs. You don't want a fast dog on a rabbit. You want a slow dog so they don't heat up and sweat and foul the meat. But I've been in the woods enough to know what's going on in the woods.
Yeah.
And whatever that is, I don't want it to hunt with me no more.
Yeah.
You don't have me to hunt no more.
Well, I'm stupid enough to go out there one of these days. And,
Well, hey,
You might just find what you're looking for.
yeah.
if I'm right in my assumption, this thing will not harm you if you're not trying to harm it.
Okay.
But if I'm wrong, you're dead. It's that simple, because anything as big as that thing had to be,
Yeah.
we got no chance.
No. Yeah.
Two-
10 foot
That's
tall.
what I was telling you when I saw Bigfoot in Oregon.
In Oregon.
Remember?
Yeah. 10
Same
feet
thing.
tall.
I felt like it wasn't after me.
Yeah.
It just wanted my food.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, but gone. Didn't want to be seen.
The paralyzation, though, is something that people say happens with the sound. And did you hear it kind of vibrating in your lungs, kind of?
It hit me, physically hit me,
Wow.
like, whew,
Wow.
and loud. Oh, man. My ears then were very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, when I got to the house, I was a ball of nerves. I was shaking. I was physically still shaking.
Yeah.
And it's been at least a half hour. And my ears were like a tone,
Yeah.
kind of a tone like you've been slapped on the ear. You ever
Right. Yeah.
Ringing.
Not ringing, no, it's like a buzz, a hum.
I
Yeah.
know that sound.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a hum almost, a buzz, whatever you want to call it. But yeah.
What an incredible story.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, and want to thank you for your service too, Air Force.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I only did 3 years, 5 months, and 2 days, but they were counting too.
Right.
They wanted me out as bad as I wanted out.
Well, I got your number now, so
Yeah.
I hope you catch some fish. I'm leaving tomorrow to go fishing too.
Oh, I will definitely catch some fish.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll stay in touch with you. And I used to go down to Georgia for the Iraq veteran thing, but I may look you up down there.
What town in Georgia?
Playland areas.
Okay, yeah, we'll head out. I forgot. It was like an hour drive from Atlanta.
Which direction?
Oh man, I can't even remember that little town. I'll let you know.
Was it towards Marietta?
Yeah.
From
Atlanta.
Atlanta to Marietta,
Yeah.
where the Sim Dog was? Towards that direction?
Near there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was closer to South Carolina border.
I feel like you got some more stories, Bob, like some more insights, some more information down the road.
Yeah.
Well-
we'll do this again.
You know, like, yeah.
If you know Steve Isdall, I know you know
Yeah,
who he
yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to him read these accounts by other people.
Mm-hmm.
And those accounts, to the letter, almost every one of them, I'll set in judgment where he won't.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of got a BS sensor
Yeah.
that goes off. like my point on the military bases.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bigfoot were there and the bases came after them. And like the deer exchange for the rabbit.
Yeah.
I hear stories about people who trade with or leave items and they leave something in trade.
It left it for you maybe because it took the
Well, that's
deer.
what I'm saying. That
Yeah,
when you
that's
listen
what it
to
did.
other people read, when he reads other people's accounts,
Mm-hmm.
they're talking about leaving things in trade. They talk about not being bothered by it, but they talk about the same thing, being afraid of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, if you're not afraid of something that big and bad,
Yeah.
there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, I'm seriously serious about that. That, to me, is their potential to hurt you is so
Yeah.
great that I've been pushed around by cows and horses, and I've been around livestock and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a horse can hurt you and not know he's hurting you.
Yeah.
But then I know they can kick the hell out of you and mess you up that way too.
Yeah.
So if this animal thumped you, he could break your neck.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know that they're mean,
Yeah.
but they have so much potential that if they were just a little bit mean, it could mean the end of you
Yeah.
or your life. So I don't want anything to do with them.
Yeah.
Now, they talk about MINDSPEAK.
Mm-hmm.
What else could it be that tells me there's something behind that tree?
Right.
It's not my imagination. It's something that caught my attention and said, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you think about it, was he mind speaking to me? Is it just emotion? Or is it words? Or is it everything?
Yeah.
Because it could be more than just emotion. I got the sense I was near something dangerous. I got the sense something wanted to communicate with me. And also got the sense that he wasn't going to hurt me, but he wasn't going to let me see him either.
Yeah, especially if you. So you had the.
I had a 7 mag.
You have this. You had the sense to de-escalate by hiding.
Oh
the
yeah,
weapon,
yeah. It was something
then-
that's in my survival
Yeah,
training.
Yeah.
But
Beautiful.
all these people read these. I mean, they write these stories about what happened to them.
Yeah.
I said the same thing happened to me. Only my little thing was this way and theirs was that way.
Yeah.
But it was basically the same thing. The encounter was that I was too close to this thing and it wanted me to stop coming toward him because I couldn't see through the tree, with the bow.
Mm-hmm.
I was pushing through and he stopped me. I mean, he physically stopped me with his voice.
Wow.
And boom. And he only needed a few seconds to get away,
Yeah.
but he stopped me for a full minute.
Man.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
And,
Well.
and how's a man 72 years old remember what happened when he was 15
Right.
if it's not printed
Yeah.
in stone in your mind? Man, I mean, it's got to be something
Yeah.
really powerful to mark that deep into your memory that you can't forget it.
Man.
You think about all the things that happened to you when you was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do you almost get run over by a car? You don't know, do you?
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of times, maybe.
Yeah.
I know I was a couple of times because I was a stupid kid. But I don't remember all the details about that.
Yeah.
But the encounter with this thing, every instant is remembered. Every detail. To how many drops of urine and spinal fluid was on that rabbit.
Yeah.
And that rabbit was pristine. He wasn't ruffled up. If something caught it with teeth, it would have gnawed a hole in it somewhere.
Yeah.
It would have been blood and slobber all over him.
Knew
Yeah.
what it was doing, hiding its tracks,
Yeah.
stealth.
Yeah.
Yeah, knew what it was doing.
Man.
It was scary.
That is the most amazing story I've ever heard. Well, they're running us out of here, but I will stay in touch with you. And yeah.
Well, I'm down there with the Navajo now, and those guys They will not.
Oh, they got
They
some
will
stories too.
not talk about it. So,
Arizona, yeah.
well, in New Mexico, and
Yeah.
my wife works with the Navajo every day in their
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah.
So she's meeting all these old guys, and I said, "Why don't you get them to talk to you?" She said, "I tried."
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "About my story?" She says, "Yeah, I tried." And she said, one guy was crying, and his brother was telling me to stop, that you can't talk about those things. And I'm thinking, well, this guy is probably 70 years old too.
Yeah.
But he's crying in bed. He's in the hospital bed, and my wife is there trying to get him, socializing and talking a little bit. His brother's sitting there. His brother's sitting there like a stone, won't talk to the guy. And then this guy starts crying about, my wife's trying to bring up the subject. She thinks about me and my stories, and talking with the native people about the Bigfoot, and they won't talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Well, this guy wouldn't. He wasn't going to hear any of it. He had to get away, and he was, confined to a hospital bed. He couldn't get away.
Wow.
But it was that powerful to him.
Yeah. I believe it. I lived down there for a while, New Mexico.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna make it down there sometime. I'll keep in touch with you.
If you come down, we will definitely go in the mountains and look at what you want to look for.
Yeah.
But
I'll do it.
I can't guarantee
That
we'll
was
find one.